For this task, you need to go into your notebook and find the page that has chapter 16 and 17 words. And we are working on breaking words down using morphemes and graphemes in helping us pronounce them and spell them. So go ahead and get that out. And we're going to do a little review. As I go through the notes and put information on the screen, you are going to write them on your paper. So the first word is scrutinizing. This is a word that you're going to come across in your reading tonight. And we are going to be looking at the parts that make the syllable. So the first part, I don't see a prefix. Screw, tin, eyes. And when we hear the sound of eyes, it's not in the word, but we know that when we hear the long I, it's got a silent E at the end, but we're adding a suffix ing. Scrutinizing. And so sometimes the spelling changes when we add suffixes. Now we're going to write the entire word here and then look first to see if there are any prefixes or suffixes. And there are two suffixes. IZE is a suffix and ing is a suffix. Now we're going to look at our other vowels and underline the U and the I. So when we say the word, we see that this syllable does not have a consonant at the end, so our U is going to make the long sound. Here we call this a closed syllable. It's between and enclosed by a consonant, so it's going to make a short sound, I. So when we spell the word out, what I want you to be doing is just gently with your fingers, and it doesn't need to be for anyone else to see. You can do it on your leg, but in your non-writing hand, tap out the syllables when you write it and listen to the sounds that you're writing. Some of the words that we're doing here are pretty, lengthy, but when we think about how they break down, it makes sense phonetically and when we know how suffixes work. So on the next slide, I'm going to go through what scrutinizing means, and you are going to write down one of the synonyms that you find that helps you figure it out. I was closely scrutinizing or studying my opponent's moves so I could figure out what my next play should be. In the sentence, I see scrutinizing with commas after it and an or. That tells me that the context clue there means studying. So scrutinizing means studying. In the book tonight, it says scrutinizing me, head cocked to one side, he ruffled his beard while a sly smile played on his lips. So scrutinizing here means studying me. So I'm wondering who this person is who's studying him and why he's sly. By the time you come to class tomorrow, you should be able to tell me that. The next word here is elation. Elation. Say it in your head. Elation. Tap it out. We hear elation. There are 3 syllables here. Elation. Elation. Now you're going to write the word down at the bottom, or where the entire word goes in the middle. And let's look, do we see a prefix or a suffix? And we see E is a prefix, shun is a suffix, and then we're left with just one part in the middle that has a vowel, and it's an open vowel. It doesn't have anything after it, so we know it's going to say its name, elation. On the next slide, I'm going to give you some examples, and you're going to pick one context clue or synonym to help you remember what elation means. When I found out that I'd earned a perfect score on the test, I was elated or delighted. That was nothing compared to how elated or extremely happy I felt when I received my acceptance to college. I didn't think that I could feel more elated or thrilled than that, but when I learned that I was getting a full scholarship to attend, I became even more excited. So I see elated here used here, and after it, or, telling me that elated can mean delighted. I see elated here with or, meaning extremely happy, and elated or thrilled. So how might you describe someone who is elated? They're lying down and their eyes are closed, they're sitting with their head down as they cry, or they have a huge smile and are jumping with joy. Which one shows that they're delighted, happy, or thrilled? They have a huge smile. And we see the prefixes here. E means out of or away from. I know our word here was elation, but we can change that suffix at the end. All right, so with something close to elation, I saw him pull a large gray lump of bread, which he held up. So with something close to delight, happiness, and thrill, we could assume that he's hungry, so he would be very, very happy or excited if he saw some food, bread. So I wonder if this person is going to be a good person to help him. The next word is authority. Authority. When I say the words and tap it out, authority, I hear 4 different sounds, but then when we look at prefixes and suffixes, that might change. So the first sound is auth, or, and while it's 2 syllables, the suffix ity is a very common suffix that can be seen in lots of words. Auth, or, ity. So when we write the entire word out, we're looking for any prefixes or suffixes. We know the suffix or. If we even took off the ity, we have the word author, person who writes a book. Or means one who or something that. And the suffix ity. So on the next slide, we're going to look at authority, and you're going to copy down one of the synonyms or context clues. My older brother says he can order me around because my parents gave him the authority or power to do so. I told him that he only has that kind of authority or control when our parents are both away. I also argue that he wasn't given the authority or ability to make me work around the house. Someday, when I'm older, I'll have the authority or force to control what goes on in my life. So looking at the context clues, authority has or after it, showing that it means power, authority or control, authority or ability, and authority or force. So you're picking one of these words as your context clues. So what is authority? It's knowing the reason why everyone tells you what to do. It's having control over someone or something else. Or it's writing a good book that will change someone's ideas. And we've seen control up here a couple of times. It's having control over something. Okay, and if we look at the word ingredients, the breakdown of the words, auth is one who, or auth, one with power, or one who does something, and ity means the state or quality of. When we add suffixes to the ends of words, it often changes the part of speech. I was told. By what authority? Father Quinnell. So by what power or by what control was he told? Okay, so it's telling somebody who's in power that was above Crispin giving him information. And then the last word you're going to come across tonight is proclaimed. Proclaimed. When you tap it out, proclaimed. We hear 2 different sounds, proclaimed. But when we, again, break it down by morphemes, we might see that that's a little bit different. We see pro, or we hear pro. Claim is the base in the middle, and then I see a suffix at the end, ed. So when we write it out, proclaimed, we hear 2 sounds, but we know, because of our knowledge of suffixes, that we can add sounds to the end of the words that didn't really change the number of syllables, but it changes the meaning of the words slightly. So we're going to circle any prefixes and suffixes. I see pro as a prefix and ed as a suffix. And then our vowel in the middle, when we see 2 vowels together, typically our first vowel says its name, A. Proclaimed. Sorry. She proclaimed or formally announced that she was going to run for president. Again, I see the comma or here. Formally announced means proclaimed. In our book, I was proclaimed a wolf's head. I was formally announced or told I was a wolf's head. When we see these ... this often means there's like a hesitation or an interruption in his thought. And we know Crispin is very scared about this idea of being proclaimed a wolf's head. All right, from this point forward, you're going to make sure that you have this task done.